Good afternoon. I can now call the workshop to order at 4:25 PM. Ms. Bellotta, please call the roll.
District 1, Barbara McQuinn. Here. District 2, Alexandra Ayala. Here. District 3, Karen Brill. Here. District 4, Erica Whitfield. Here. District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marsha Andrews. Here. District 7, Edwin Ferguson.
We have quorum with all 7 board members in attendance. Also joining us, Superintendent Michael Burke, General Counsel Sean Bernard, Inspector General Teresa Michael, and Board Clerk Tony Bellotta. General Counsel.
So this is our first workshop and our only workshop. I can quickly turn it over to Ms. Sean Bernard, our General Counsel. This is her show today.
Thank you. And if you haven't noticed, members, I'm down on the floor today. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chairwoman Brill, school board members, Mr. Superintendent, and district members who are here today. I get to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite topics, and that's the Office of General Counsel. I get to be the face of the OGC, but as many of you know and have the opportunity to work with the amazing team members on my team daily, there's a host of talented, amazing, smart lawyers that make up the OGC, as well as a host of staff that make what we like to call the magic happen. So it gives me just a great pleasure to be able to talk to you about what all we've been able to accomplish in FY23 and highlight some of those things for you today. All right, if you will recall, when we wrapped up last year, we talked about building as we climb to new heights being the theme going into FY23. And so in building on those building blocks, we've done a lot. It's been quite the pressure cooker. You all have been with us along the way. You've experienced it. We've all experienced it together. And we've been supporting the work and providing the legal guidance all along the way. And so as we reach these new heights, I get to highlight some of those things for you. So our focus for FY23 has really been in 4 key areas. And like I said, when we finished out FY22, we talked about some of these focus areas that we really wanted to build upon. The first being enhancing the school board and district supports. And you've seen that in many different mediums. Also increasing the efficiency of our OGC data collection and reporting. We've worked really hard to cut down on the number of reports. So you've probably seen fewer reports, but we've really focused on making sure that the information that we are providing to you in those reports are meaningful and give you exactly what you need so that you remain up to date with what's going on. And it includes, too, tracking data in a way that we never have before so that we can start looking at the trends, because those things, as we know, help with training, and training is very important for so many reasons. Also, a big push and a focus for us this year has been promoting legally compliant district leadership. For those members who have taken part in our training, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of the training that we've done this year. We're just so thrilled at how many participants we were able to reach in our training this year. And so that's been a running theme throughout this past year, making sure that we have not just great leaders, but legally compliant leaders. And then finally, we get asked this question all the time, and we're really passionate about our community involvement in our office. I don't know what other organizations lawyers do, but we really firmly believe in the district's mission to educate, affirm, and inspire each student. And so we believe that the only way you can truly ensure that you've got, or that you're approaching the work with the right legal lens, that you're keeping, the student focus right at the center. So we'll be talking a little bit about some of our community engagement, which of course involves our students. So starting with our first focus, which has been enhancing the school board and district supports. Like I indicated, there's been a number of ways that we provided you information this year through, of course, legal memoranda, of course, the guidance that we've given on a number of changes in the law, and there's been a number of them, as well as state board ed rules. We've been right there on the front lines, providing the guidance, providing the support, both to the board and our district leader partners. So our partnerships and collaborations have been critical to this work. And so we've been right there. Certainly we have a legal hotline. We're very proud of it. We've had it for many, many years. And we'll talk a little bit about the increases that we've seen in our legal hotline. And so that's a number that all of our school centers have. And there's been a huge increase in the use of that hotline, but that allows us to provide real-time guidance to our school centers. So all of these things have been a focus, and we've seen a lot of improvements, and I hope that you too have seen the changes that we have been intentional about making with respect to how we're supporting the work. All right, so with respect to the focus on increasing our efficiencies in the data collection, you're going to see some charts a little bit later on, but we have really been focusing in on data collection. We know that the board is very interested in data collection when it comes to looking at how our students are improving academically and in so many different avenues that we receive information. And so with legal information, it's no different. And so we've put a focus on that. We've enhanced the information that we provide to you all through the quarterly reports and things of that nature, our settlement reports, so that we can really track this. Because as you'll see with the next piece, which is the training piece, and with when we're promoting legally compliant leadership, that's where we find that the data collection really, really becomes critical. So I mentioned how excited we were about the training that we've been able to do this past year. We've reached over 500 district participants, and these have been both virtually and in-person trainings. We've zoned in on the data collection. We've listened to the feedback that's come through by way of the hotline. We've listened to the feedback that we've gotten from our district partners, and we have crafted training that centers around the topics that are important to our district partners. And you'll see some of those topics here. Of course, FERPA is something that we all have to be very mindful of and have to know when to identify when those issues come up. And then, of course, employment investigations. We're the largest employer in Palm Beach County. So we've been focusing in on the training around those investigations. Of course, ESE is very important, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit in a little bit about some of the initiatives that we've done on the ESE front. Student discipline, legislative compliance, of course, a very big area. And then, of course, we've been training those on the front lines, and those are our administrative assistants that are in our schools. We've been able to reach a lot of them this year, and we've gotten really good feedback from that training because they really are the ones that are on the front lines. And then, of course, lastly, our focus being on community engagement. We were very excited to be able to bring our internship program back. Some of you had the opportunity to meet some of the interns that we've had, both in FY23 and then, of course, this summer as well. So we're very proud of the work that we're able to do with our interns because we learn so much from them, and I'm sure we probably learn a lot more from them than they learn from us. But it's always such a wonderful experience. And of course, all of the district-sponsored events, we feel it is so important to take part in those, but to be not just participants, but to be leaders in our engagement with our district partners, be it the Take Your Sons and Daughters to Work. I've had the opportunity to go to some of the schools with Mrs. Whitfield and engage our students in our Ethics and Governance Day. I've had an opportunity to sit on a panel and speak to women, particularly women of color, about what it means to be a professional and to be a woman of color and balancing that with family and other things during Women's History Month. We have lawyers in our office who have sat on a number of panels. Book banning obviously was a big topic of discussion in the community. We've had lawyers sit on some of those panels to talk about how that is not what we're doing here in Palm Beach County. So we've had a lot of opportunities to get out and engage our community, as well as work with our students and work with our district partners. And so it's just been an exciting year all around. And here are some of just the highlights and pictures of the work that we've been doing. You've probably heard some of the feedback from some of the costumes that we've gotten to wear, because we really do love getting out there and being with our students. I think I've even seen Ms. Andrews out there at a few career days. Any opportunity to get in front of our students and let our students know that there's a legal department and lawyers that might influence or inspire them to want to seek a career in the law. We're always eager to do that. All right. This is probably one of the more exciting data collections that we've been able to put together. I think it's important to look at how the office has really engaged in a number of cost savings to the district. As far as the administration for FY23, the work of this dedicated team has had a major return on investment, as you can see from the numbers here. There's certainly been a drop in outside counsel fees going all the way back to 2012. You can see where we are as of 2023. And it's just, we've had major litigation awards that we've been very excited about, our optical disc settlement, our jewel settlement. So it's always nice to be in a position to say that we're not just saving the district by reaching resolutions in cases, but we're also bringing money back to the district. So we're very excited about being able to share that with you all today. And of course, this is the makeup of the office. We bid farewell to our Deputy General Counsel, Blair Littlejohn, this year. Also, Danielle Sharif was another attorney who we said goodbye to this year. But as you've seen, we have continued to expand the office, and we have new lawyers that have come to work for us, and we're very excited about that. And we've got Patricia Morales, who's now the Deputy General Counsel. So we're just very proud to be able to, even with those who have departed, to be able to move forward and continue to grow our office and keep the workflow going. Now, I want to kind of take you through some of the different practice groups that we have and show you some of the data that we've been tracking. It's been so that you can kind of see for yourself, where the work is trending. As you can see in our academic group, we've had a lot of increases in our IEP meetings, our Section 504 meetings, and you can see that that's a really big area where we've experienced a lot of increases, as well as our expulsion recommendations and hearings. But then we've had drops in the areas of appeals and OCR cases, and so we'll be tracking that. This gives us a glimpse of what's happened over the past 2 years, but we'll be tracking that so that we can take from this lessons learned and then continue to incorporate that into our training. The same can be said from our business practice group. We're tracking to see what, where the big areas are. You can see the pre-qualification vetting is a huge, huge area, as well as our real estate transactions. I'm proud to say that our business operations group reviewed over 1,080 contracts this year. And that's up 39 from just last year. So we are really, really moving in that area. And of course, with our optical disc settlement, there's just been a lot of exciting things happening in our business practice group. And then, of course, in governance, we're tracking that information as well. You can see that there's been a drop in public records requests that we've been supporting our records management department on, as well as increases in our hotline calls that I mentioned earlier. And of course, there's been a slight increase in our policy review, but 85 policies, if you allow yourself to just think how many policies you've had in front of you over this past year, that's quite a bit of work, and we've been there every step of the way. One of the things on the litigation that I wanted to just kind of focus your attention on is the peak areas, and so we are tracking this as well. We are noticing that there are high times where we have new cases and new claims, and those tend to be in the May and January timeframes. Probably no surprise there, but that's when you see spikes. So we'll be fashioning some training around that as well. But we are tracking this information because we think that there's so much to learn from it so that we can do and get better. And then, of course, there's been legal victories, and I've mentioned some of those settlements, but, the vaping litigation, mental health, which is key to, of course, one of the key components of the strategic plan, is so critical, and we are right there embedded in this work. And so we're very proud of, even in the Baker Act litigation, being able to get to a resolution and being really at the forefront on the policy initiatives to ensure that our students have the mental health assistance that they need. So we're very, very excited about the victories that we've had this past year. And speaking of some of those initiatives that I alluded to earlier, in our academic group, one of the big focuses, or two of the big focuses really, have been the ESE Lunch and Learn series. That is where our attorneys meet with our ESE providers in our school centers and have lunch with them and really talk through some of the critical issues and answer some of the tough questions and provide them guidance in this area. And then, of course, the Truancy Project, which we weren't sure we were going to be able to get that off the ground this year. With work with the superintendent and his staff, we've been able to get that off the ground and provide some really meaningful services to our families. And so we're proud to say that as we wrapped up FY23, we were able to get that off the ground. And then with our business operations group, the contract management implementation, we were able to finally get that system up and going. This has allowed us to track large contracts that come in a more meaningful way, interact with the departments in a more efficient way, and then, of course, with respect to litigation, it has allowed us to be able to manage large document-intensive cases. So that was a focus that we were able to accomplish through our initiatives. Our governance group, this has been something that the board has had a front seat at seeing the work in real time, and that is with all of the tracking of the State Board of Education rules, working through those, providing guidance, and making sure that our policies are fully up to date and revised so that we can assure that the board is compliant, and then certainly that trickles down into the training that we give to our district partners. So there's been a lot of hard work, a lot of busy work with respect to our State Board of Education rules. And then, of course, again, tracking and reporting in our litigation, with our litigation team, we've been able to track the trends and then implement that through the training. So that is, in a nutshell, what we've been able to accomplish for FY23. Like I said, I have a wonderful team. Here they all are. You'll see that there are some new faces on there, and so we welcome them. I am overly excited to call this team a family. One of our team members, Patty, one of my right hands is seated here next to me today and helping me through this presentation. But I just can't say enough about what an awesome team we have, and I can't thank them enough for all of their hard work. And so, as we always like to do, we always like to end with setting our sights towards FY24. We, too, are catching the wave. We are very excited, just as we always align ourselves in the work that we do with the strategic plan. We were so excited to see that there is a site toward looking at the customer service aspect of the work. And so we have already begun what we're calling a growth plan of our own, and a focus for that plan is customer service. And I think Mr. Burke, when he launched the Back to School at the Leadership Summit, spoke of one of the interns who said, you know, customer service is really about the customer experience. And that really struck a chord in me, because it really is about the customer experience. And so we are ready to ride this wave. We're excited about the feedback. We've put some surveys out to the leadership team so that we can get feedback on how we are doing and how we are serving or providing a quality customer experience. And we're looking forward to being able to share the results of that in the FY24. Thank you so much.
Mrs. McQuinn, then Mrs. Whitfield.
Thank you. I want to particularly thank you for the legal advice that you have given us regarding the many legislative changes. And Mr. Burke spoke at the North Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce this morning, and I can't even remember how many he said changes we have. And so thank you for shepherding us through that. I appreciate it.
Mrs. Whitfield.
Thank you, Ms. Bernard. I just wanted to really quickly thank your whole team for all of your work and everything that you have done. One of the things that I most admire you for, and that department, even with your predecessor, is the work-life balance that you try to give to your lawyers and staff. I really love the priority that you put on family and being a good place to work, and I just want to thank you for that. I think it shows through in the people that you have work for you and the dedication that they have to this district, and so I'm very proud of the work that you do there. Also, I wanted to mention just a huge thanks for these last few years where you've taken on kind of new projects like the Truancy Project. I know that's been something that we've really been concerned about for a long time, and to have your department help with it has been wonderful. And also the dual litigation and things like that, where you're actively seeking ways to really make sure that we're compensating for some of these injustices done to us by people outside. I just want to say thank you so much for that work. Your team is really extraordinary, and I greatly appreciate all their work. Thank you.
Vice Chairwoman Brew.
Thank you, and I want to thank you for all that you do. And I want to tell you that something we've never discussed, but which is near and dear to my heart, is your community engagement. And that piece, many, many years ago, when I was in the private sector in private banking, we encouraged all of our employees to take on organizations to go out in the public. And I know how important that is and how inspired so many of them went on later to be heads of some of our nonprofit organizations. So I appreciate your sharing with the public what you're doing, because that's so meaningful. It shows that, you know, we are touchable, we are real, and that you're caring. And so I thank you for all your efforts, for all that you're doing. I know these years have been challenging, to say the least, and to be able to balance that with your own families is wonderful. So thank you.
Mrs. Andrews.
Thank you, and good afternoon to our General Counsel and your team, because it takes the entire team. You always have a smile, and you always try to work so hard to help everyone in the district. I'm just thrilled about your training program that you have with our principals, the administrators in the school, not just the principals, everybody, and that your department just doesn't sit on the third floor and sit in that office. You go out and visit the schools, and that's very, very impressive to me. And I saw you actually hire a lot of new people this year, and everyone seemed to be happy, but I saw how you elevated people who had worked for you for many years. You showed them your appreciation of the work that they had done over the years to help make this district great. That was so important to me to see that, having been around for a while. And I think when we say that we actually get a return on our investment, we're saving money over there with you and what you're doing, and that's a good thing. The community involvement is always great for me. You will go to the Glades, you'll go anywhere that we ask you to go, and you say, Ms. Andrews, I'll follow you. I want to see what's going on the ground. And you have a genuine interest in listening to what we're talking about as to what we do in our positions as school board members. So that's absolutely fabulous. But really, you're trying to make sure the leaders know the legal responsibilities within our district so that we don't get in trouble, that we can follow the law. And you stay so abreast to the policies and procedures with governance and working with what's happening within the legislature to make sure that when those laws change immediately, you inform us and get us ready so that we can actually have those policies in place as of July 1 when everything hits. So I'm just really pleased with having you, and you make us all feel very wonderful. But I see you make all of the people that you interface with, and I see that with your whole team. As I interface with them, they're always willing to help. So I want you to keep up the great work. This packet that you put for us, we have everything that we need to see all the great work. I think you've already caught the wave, so you're just going to be riding the wave as we move forward. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Okay, so somebody said she's always smiling. You haven't seen her put up with a school board member that's got a law degree, I'll tell you. So we've had our differences, but she is smiling even through those situations. I want to congratulate you on one of my concerns has always been the use of outside counsel and the thousands of dollars. Your team is exceptional. You've done a great job of bringing in the right attorneys to handle things for us so that it stays in-house. So I want to congratulate you on that, and also that you always smile. No matter what's going on in this district, sometimes it gets very difficult for all of us. But thank you for that. And I think you've done a great job, especially being able to put up with some of the stuff that I've thrown at you. So I appreciate that. And Mr. Ferguson?
Great job. So I didn't want to be redundant, but I think you're doing an exceptional job. In my brief time on the board, there have been a few issues that have been fairly complicated, and you do a really good job of teaching in that regard. So continue doing what you're doing. Your staff is exceptional. I was even up there, in the floor today. I won't discuss what happened. Like I said, whatever happens up there stays up there, but you all are doing an exceptional job. Keep being great. And again, Ms. Bernard, your credit to this organization. You've been
Thank you.
exceptional. Thank you.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yeah, I just want to get in on the praise here. Ms. Bernard and the entire General Counsel's office is a valuable part of our team. I could not do my job without their support. And in the, going into my third year as superintendent, we have had no shortage of legal issues thrown at us with multiple new laws and rules and things the board touched on. So I just want to thank you for really just always being a partner and someone that you can bounce ideas off, and you'll listen and give me a candid response, and also that you are pleasant in all interactions. Even I can imagine that people cringe when I call sometimes, but you never know that when Ms. Bernard answers the phone, she makes you feel like she's happy to hear from you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no other comments, we'll take a motion to adjourn the workshop. Motion by Ms. Ayala, seconded by Mrs. Andrews. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. We have to wait until 5 o'clock time certain to start the regular board meeting, so we'll take a break for a few minutes until 5 o'clock.